Welcome back to the kickoff. Another defeat for Newcastle, this time against Bournemouth. I'm gutted, but, you know, we can't make any knee-jerk reactions, can we, Newcastle fans? We got to be level-headed here. This is just a blip, you know, you could turn it around. Just look in here, 15 defeats for the season. Now, what, that is a lot, isn't it? That's a lot. That's 3 defeats more than the newly promoted Leeds and 5 defeats more than the newly promoted Sunderland. But it's only because he's got 2 games a week. 2 games a week, what do you expect from him? No, wait, it's actually 1 game a week, and we've actually gotten worse since it became 1 game a week. So the more Eddie's coaching us, the worse we're getting. However, Eddie has got a lot of injuries, so we do have to give him, you know, a little bit of leeway. No, that's right. They are actually all fit now, aren't they? Yeah, I didn't think about that. That doesn't work either. That's PSR's fault. It's PSR, that's why, man. It's bloody PSR. He's not been backed. He's not had enough money. Newcastle's bench against Palace, 55 million on Wissa, 40 million Bonds, 55 Alanga, like 70 on Voltemorda, 40 on Ramsey. That's over 250 million pounds worth of subs. Barely backed that, isn't it? No, but he didn't get his top targets. You can't get us on that one. He did not get his top targets. Although he did chase Alanga for 2 years. He wanted Ramsey for about 2 years as well. Malik Chow was after him for at least a year. And then Wissa, he wanted him all summer. So out of the 5 players he signed in the summer, he was chasing 4 of them for ages. That's a pretty good return for a manager. Even that's bollocks. But Isak left. That is it. That's why. That's the real reason. That's why it's not Eddie's fault. Isak left. Although we have actually been beaten by multiple sides this season, like Palace, Bournemouth, Brentford, who've all lost plenty of their top players, spent way less than the 700 million that we've spent, and are actually doing better than us. So even the Isak excuse doesn't work anymore. Well, it's the players' fault. Let's blame the players, right? It's not Eddie, it's the players. Although he did sign them, and he picks the team. So, you know, it's a bit of a difficult one to sell. And he can't make them not make mistakes. That is one thing. He can't get on the pitch and play for them. Yeah, that's true. I mean, it is Eddie's job to get the players and the team playing at their best individually and collectively, so that doesn't really stack up either. And Eddie did say in his pre-match press conference that he's not telling them, you know, to play side-to-side football and to not be aggressive and to not press and to sit off, which would indicate that they're not actually listening to him anymore. And judging by the levels on the pitch, he's not motivating them either. And it's the 2nd week in a row that Eddie's come up against the team whose manager's already told his players, I'm off in the summer, I'm leaving, and yet they were still more motivated than Eddie's players. So it sounds like every single last excuse that they would always make for Eddie Howe has been completely and utterly disproven. And the entirety of St. James's Park seems to have woken up to that fact. They were booed off at both half-time and full-time. And yet the local media will have you believe that it's just the vocal minority online who want Eddie out. The vocal minority are the only ones not happy with this situation. And look, I've been unhappy with him for fucking months. You all know it. I was on to this guy last year. I seen all of this coming a fucking mile off, and at the time, people called me negative, or, oh, he's only doing it for clicks. Everything I was saying has been proven right. Every single problem I spotted and went through in detail back then is exactly what everyone else is complaining about now. Calling me negative. How's this for negative? Wolves have been relegated for months. We played them in January. Since we played each other, Newcastle have got 9 points in 11 games. Do you know what Wolves have got in that time? 9 points in 11 games. We are keeping pace with a team that are already relegated and have been for months. How's that for negative, you fucking idiots? And it's so funny, right? Because I take no pleasure in being right, because I was hoping the whole time Eddie would prove me wrong. I was praying he would. I was praying that everything I was saying, I would just somehow be proven wrong. I knew I wasn't going to be, but I was hoping. But for so many to call me out and say, oh, I'm talking bollocks, I don't know what I'm talking about. Do you think I built 2 sports channels just on a fluke like? Do you think I don't know what I'm talking about? I fucking know exactly what I'm talking about. And the reason I'm acting like this is because a lot of people out there, the level of abuse, you don't understand what it's like. You don't understand the wave of shit you have to go through. So yes, I'm having my I told you so moment today. Now is the day. That's why I'm wearing this fucking shirt as well. How'd you like them apples? Nick Voltemorda, I'm supporting him in this fucking video. I'll get onto that. The reality is there's a lot of fucking wafflers in this space who don't have a fucking clue what they're watching, and they try and tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. Every single issue I was pointing out last year is literally at the doorstep of Newcastle United now. And I was just raising the alarm going, hello, the fucking Titanic's about to hit a fucking iceberg. We need to change this shit now. This season is going down. And Eddie never changed a fucking thing. And I'm just a fucking fan. Eddie Howe was paid £6 million a year to do his job, and he's done a shocking job of it this year. I don't care what his mates in the media say, I don't care what anyone says, he has been horrific, and I've seen it coming a mile off. So next time, when these wafflers are giving it the big one about what they know, just remember who said, everything's fine, back Eddie, all of that nonsense, you don't have a fucking clue. Now we've got the negativity out the way. On the bright side, it can't get any worse, can it? It can. I'm actually at that like psychopathic level of like so annoyed, but also like, this is a joke. This is a shambles, isn't it? And it's even more like dark humor for me because I've literally watched this car crash happening in slow motion, screaming at the driver, slam the fucking brakes on. And like everyone's like, what's this guy's problem? He's being negative. So now it's happened. I'm like, well, I fucking tried to tell you. I tried to fucking tell you lot. Wolves, down, relegated. Same points as us in the last 11 fucking games. Nothing to play for. And we're competing for Europe. What a load of shite. Don't fucking question me. Don't do it. Just next time I tell you something's happening, pay attention. And you know what's sad? Is no one's really ever going to understand how bad this is, and I'm going to put it into words right. I'm going to fucking really bring this home. This is Steve McLaren, Steve Bruce bad. In fact, it's worse. And a lot of people are going to remember Eddie Howe for the highlight moments of his career, and understandably, that should definitely be in the picture. But we can't forget this either. Well, you can't put him up there with Sir Bobby Robson anymore because of this shambles that he is leaving us in. In the last 9 years, our lowest finish was 13th. This was in the Mike Ashley era. We're currently 14th and 3 points ahead of Leeds United, who've been in a relegation battle all season. In our last 2 seasons under Steve Bruce, we lost 16 games and 17 games. This season, we've lost 15 games. We've got like 5 games left to play. This is Steve Bruce level bad, but I'll tell you why it's worse. Because Steve Bruce didn't have 700 fucking million to spend. To do that badly after spending this much money is staggering. And I know people love Eddie and they're not going to want to acknowledge the truth, but I am not going to stop telling the truth as I have done all season. And that is the harsh reality of the situation we're in right now. Now, to be fair to Eddie, it was uncharacteristic. Because normally, before we collapse, we take the lead first. But I think this was all part of his strategy, you know. You can't lose a lead if you never take the lead in the first place. Genius, really. But what was very much part of our character this season was us conceding a late goal. We've conceded more late goals than any other team this season. 19 in 15 games. I'm just going to quickly break this one down because I find this amazing. So the move essentially starts here, but they'd strung about 50 fucking uninterrupted passes together before they put the ball in the back of the net. It was humiliating. This is a home game. We're 1-1. We're chasing the game and they're just knocking it around us like we're not even fucking there. And their ability to pass whenever they did sort of click as a team, because they weren't at their best in that game, in my opinion. You can just see they're so much more comfortable on the ball than us. And again, this is a squad that they have assembled. The last game that they played against Arsenal, their starting lineup was £125 million worth of players. Our bench was over 250 million on our last game. Our average match day squad's over 600 million. This should not be happening. So the move starts off here. Jacob Murphy comes to close down. He fires the ball in to his man here, who the defender comes out to close him down, and he keeps running into this space here. And Jacob Murphy, what do you think he does? Fuck all. After a 1-2 with this man on the outside, they slip it into the middle. Look at the fucking state of this. Look at the state of it. Jacob Murphy in the leadership group in Newcastle United. He was captain last week. Doesn't even bother tracking his man. Doesn't even fucking think about it. Now, if he was any good on the ball, I'd be like, you know what? Fair enough. You know, you're not that kind of player. If you're a world-class footballer going forward, we can make exceptions. He's fucking hopeless. Every now and then he'll put a good cross in. He is one of the most brain-dead footballers. His touch, his decision-making. He should never play for Newcastle United ever again. And it's not on a personal thing. I think he's a lovely bloke. I know he loves the club. But my God, he is terrible. And when you're that bad, shit like this is unacceptable. Get him gone. So now, because the defence is split, this defender's in no man's land, and he's going to feed the ball out wide to his man here to whip the cross in. Bearing in mind, Jacob Murphy's still just jogging back. Don't bust the gut. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to pull up with an injury. And don't get me wrong, he's not the only one. When the cross comes in, you've got the striker being marked by two centre-backs who are significantly bigger than him. This lad who's burst into the box after not being tracked by Jacob Murphy. Jacob Murphy's somewhat near him now. What the fuck, man? Just watching this in slow-mo makes it even worse. This little short-arse striker out-jumps his defenders. And again, Jacob Murphy is not tracking his man for the knockdown. Knockdown comes, belted into the back of the net for 2-1. Jacob Murphy just doesn't give a fuck, does he? Honestly, like, get out, mate. Get out. You're fucking done, you. And it's shit like that that happens every single fucking week. I've seen this goal 1,000 times. That's not a Premier League level goal. That's a Sunday League level goal. That level of defending is Sunday League level. And that's why Newcastle have conceded 49 goals, which is more than Nottingham Forest, who are in the relegation battle, by the way. They defend better than us. And I'm not all about XG and all that, but Bournemouth genuinely should have scored more goals. They created 2.98 XG against us, which is the 6th highest in an away game for any team this season. Meaning they had a fucking field day against us. On an off day for them, by the way. And you think to yourself, no wonder the Bournemouth fans are watching Eddie like, we don't want him back. I've seen it, like in podcasts and tweets from them. They class him as a backward step because what Iraola has done with their side, he's taken them to levels Eddie never possibly could have done. He's just not tactically good enough to do that. And I've seen one of them say that actually the more money he spent at Bournemouth and the better the squad got, the worse they did. And that the squad they got relegated with was the best squad they'd had up until that moment. And I was literally listening going, the more money he spent, the worse it got. That is carbon copy of what's happening at Newcastle right now. And after games like that where Eddie does the same thing week in, week out, and we're seeing the same results and the same problems over and over and over again, my love for Eddie has just drained completely, and I'm angry. I'm fucking angry at him. And I've gone from, it'll be sad when he leaves and hope we give him a good send-off, to just get him out now. Get him the fuck out, please, as quick as humanly possible. I cannot bear to watch another fucking game like this, dreading his starting lineups, wondering, is he going to do the same thing again? He can't possibly, can he? And then you see the line, like, fucking hell, I know exactly what's coming again. I'm sick to death of this shit because he knows what he's doing isn't working and he refuses to do anything different, and he's getting paid £6 million a year to do this. It's actually mind-blowing how bad he's been, and this is the thing that people never acknowledge when they harp on about what he's done in the past. You know, if we just took that out of the equation and just judged him on this season, you would never believe, you would never even be able to fathom that manager that we've witnessed this season was capable of any of that. It's unbelievable how bad he's been. And a lot of the underlying issues that were already there, which I was pointing out at the time, like, for example, Alexander Isak papering over the cracks, and we've seen after the cup win last season how bad this team was. People like to put out like, oh, the Alexander Isak left and then they went to shit. No, we were shit before that, actually, and the chickens are now coming home to roost well and truly. Eddie hasn't even looked like a Premier League manager this season. He looks like the manager who took Bournemouth down. Even the Bournemouth fans were saying it on the podcast, the way he's behaving in the interviews, they've seen it all before. He looks exactly like that. And the reality is, if it wasn't for Nick Voltemada and Bruno Guimaraes, their gold, we would be down this season. That's a fact. And speaking of Voltemada, I hope he appreciates this if he sees the fucking shirt. This guy's my favourite footballer. I fucking love watching him play. He is class. And it is so ironic that Eddie Howe would come out ahead of the last game against Crystal Palace and say, I don't pick the team based on transfer fees, as a reason as to why he's not picking the likes of Nick Voltemada. Bro, you would be getting relegated right now without this kid. And can you imagine any other elite manager spending over 200 million on that group of players who he had on the bench against Crystal Palace, breaking the club record fee for a striker in Nick Voltemada, 70 million almost we paid for him, and treating him like some £5 million kid who you've just picked up on a cheap deal who's not important to the club. It is so arrogant and disrespectful, and this is an element of Eddie Howe's personality that no one picks up on because he's polite. He is so arrogant and stubborn, it's actually unbearable. Newcastle fans put their hard-earned money into this club, and we haven't got a lot of money to play around with by comparison to the big six that we're trying to compete with. We cannot afford for you to just fuck money up the wall like this. Newcastle have lost 8 out of our last 11 Premier League games. That run started when we dropped Nick Voltemada from being our striker. Our best run of the season was the 10 games prior to dropping Nick Voltemada, and he played 8 out of those 10 games, and we averaged 2 points a game. Since dropping Voldemort as striker, we're averaging 0.8 points a game. And if you just look at home games, like this was a home game, the record's even worse. We got 20 points in 9 games at home with Nick Voldemort as striker. That's 2.2 points a game. We've played 8 games with other variations of striker up front for Newcastle this season at home, and we've got just 6 points. It's like 0.7 points a game. So with Voldemort at home, 20 points in 9 games. With anyone else, 6 points in 8 games. Can you believe people this season, when Voldemort was striker, were saying he's the problem? Literally, the cliff we've gone off since we changed him. This season has revealed who has no clue about football, by the way. It's just exposed some motherfuckers. And I said at the time, this isn't hindsight, I said at the time, this is a massive mistake. I made countless videos about how it was a mistake. The fucking facts have proved me not just right about Eddie all along, but right about everything I've been talking about all along. And for the stats to be that wide, for Voldemort stats to be that much better than when we play Anthony Gordon or Rasula up front or whoever the fuck, and for Eddie Howe at no point after the 11 games we've gone since we dropped them, or 12 games it might be now, for someone to have said, Eddie, you know, the stats are actually, they're not looking good yet. We might want to fucking go back to that. At no point has Eddie changed back. At no point has he started Nick up front again. The level of stubbornness is criminal. It's the likes of which I've actually never seen before. As much as we've had bad managers in the past, I've never seen someone ignore such an obvious thing that needs to be done. Eddie Howe has been an absolute idiot in this scenario. I don't like to use like name calling and stuff like that, but there's no other word for it. When you do stuff like that, that's idiotic, because you're cutting your nose off to spite your face. And I think he knows he's made his bed now, and he's like, I can't go back, because then it'll have proven that I've been wrong all along. It doesn't matter if you go back, Eddie. The numbers don't lie. You have been proven wrong. End of fucking story. And going back to the Eddie comment about, oh, I don't pick players on transfer fees, that's disgusting, because you sanctioned a £70 million bid for Nick Voldemort. Because everyone was making excuses. Oh, did he really buy his own players? Those idiots. He's literally taken full responsibility for it and said, yes, it was me. When you sign a player of that level of money for a club like Newcastle, you have a duty to the club to make that transfer work and to try your hardest. Does anyone think he's tried his hardest to make this transfer work? Did he adapt his team to suit Nick Voldemort's style? And he should have known that he would have to do that from even watching him in Germany. Has he fuck? Has he given him a consistent run of games beyond maybe the odd rough patch? Has he fuck? He gave up on him immediately. Eddie Howe has failed Nick Voldemort as a manager, and he's failed the fans of the club in the way he handled that. Shocking. He put his own ego before the club. That's actually what's happened here, because he just didn't want to be proven wrong. And it's funny because you hear some of the fans make excuses for it, and it's like, well, he doesn't press enough. He scores fucking goals, man. That's what we want in a striker. Number one. Ah, but Gordon presses. Do you know what's funny? Actually, Voldemort does press, and we've actually gotten multiple goals out of it this season, and it's like no one fucking thinks about it. He pressed against Leverkusen, he won a penalty. Literally won the penalty off the goalkeeper, him. He pressed against Aston Villa, scored from pressing. He pressed against Sunderland, literally won the ball, sets Anthony Gordon up for a goal, created an assist from pressing. Multiple goal involvements from pressing. So can we just stop this bullshit? As if he's just some lazy fucker. He works his arse off. He might not be the quickest, but he does fucking press. And unfortunately, far too much of the philosophy of Eddie Howe has filtered into the fan base, where we're too much concerned about what happens off the ball and not what people do on the ball. And Nick Voldemort on the ball is better than any fucking player at that club. The only one who can even chat to him is Bruno. That's it. And I can't believe that the board at no point have said to him, you know, we paid a lot of money for Nick Voldemort. Do you think you could give him a run of games, like? Because you're kind of tanking his value. And not just him. He's tanked the value of Wissa as well. And look, Wissa's been shite. But equally, pick one, play them through. You can't afford to just tank value the way you're doing at a club like Newcastle. Criminal management. And the funniest bit about all of that is the player he chose to put his faith in, the one he went, you're the one, not Nick, you're the guy, was Anthony Gordon. He was his striker. He was the best forward at the club, as many people argued online. And honestly, my days. What a joke. Yes, we can look at the numbers against Karabakh and the countless penalties, the stat padding, but the reality is actually very different. 26 games in the Premier League this season, 2 assists. That's your creative wizard, is it? Our best forward at the club in open play, in 14 months in the league, has 3 fucking goals. And he's better than Nick Voldemort. It's actually laughable. And after all the faith Eddie showed in him, because he has a bit of pace, and Eddie's obsessed with pace and thinks that that's the answer to everything. Ooh, he chases down the ball from the front, as if that's ever been the main thing you want out of a striker. And Eddie has asked before the Palace game, Anthony Gordon, he might want to leave. What's this all about? And he's like, well, if people aren't dedicated, they will be dropped. I won't play people who are dedicated, which is a lie, by the way, because everyone in the club has said Isak down tools. I've seen Livramento this season. He's been playing. He's down tools. But anyways, he says he's going to drop Anthony Gordon if he's not committed. And lo and behold, he drops Anthony Gordon with an injury. And I just thought, Eddie, all the faith you showed in Anthony Gordon, he's made you look like a right fucking mug there, hasn't he? What a mug. And I know people won't want to hear this. I don't care, because again, I'm speaking the truth. You have never stopped us before. When you said I was full of shit initially, I'm not stopping now. And this narrative that Newcastle, if they get rid of Eddie Howe, they're going to collapse. Bloody hell, be careful what you wish for. Lower your expectations, you're expecting a bit too much here. We finished 12th under Steve Bruce with Mike Ashley. We've spent 700 million and we're 14th. The collapse has already happened, you fucking idiots. It's here. It's happening right now. All the better players are wanting to leave. They don't believe in Eddie. I mean, you can see the way every player doesn't believe in Eddie, the way these performances are. And the best players want to get the fuck off the ship. Is that what normally happens when a manager's, doing a great job and everyone's playing for him? Not forgetting there's several players that Eddie is allowed to age out of their contracts and he'll be able to go on a free very, very soon. Which means not only will we have to contend with all of these players who want to leave, but all the players who are out of contract and replacing. God knows how many players we're going to have to go and get now. It's a total fucking mess. And it's a mess created by Eddie Howe. Because I'm sick to death of people giving him all the credit for when things went well and giving him none of the responsibility for when things go bad. He takes full responsibility of it all. This is on him. And I've gone from kind of feeling like I'm going to miss Eddie Howe because of the nice memories to just praying for we get the all clear and he's gone, because there's so many things I'm not going to miss about him anymore. Watching a side that after spending £49 million per player on 12 players in the squad have no plan, no fight, no pride, can't defend, can't keep the ball in midfield, and are totally disconnected going forward. I can't wait to not have to deal with that. And it might take a long time to get to that point because of the shit we're in now. I can't wait to not have to listen to one of his interviews after we lose where he lies to us and says it's uncharacteristic of what we've been watching all season. Or when he says we were in control when we weren't in control and we offered fuck all in the game. I'm sick of the bullshit. I'm sick of the piss poor in-game management. His substitutes have got to be up there, and I'm not exaggerating here, with the worst I've ever seen in my entire life watching football. That is not an exaggeration. His style of football, it's so low IQ. It's literally like, we've got to run more than them and we've got to run faster than them. That's his whole philosophy. I've seen this quote from a press conference. I think we are a passing style and we want to evolve that into a passing style, but with end product. A passing style. The man doesn't even know his own fucking team, man. Even the most delusional, moronic Eddie Howe FC fan would know that this is not a passing style. Never has been a passing style. We've always been terrible at stringing 3 passes together. Of course we have the odd moment, but we're a pressure style. The only way we create is if we catch you out high up the pitch when you make a mistake and allow us in. Even the goal we scored against Bournemouth, their player fucking played the ball through to our striker. There's no creativity in this side. There's not a good passing ability in this side. That is bullshit. I'm sick to death of watching this side wondering what the fuck the plan is, because there isn't one. And that is week after week after week. There's never anything different to combat what an opponent does well. There's never a tweak made to challenge where the opportunity is in their defense to get at them. It's the same shit no matter what. How can that be? No top manager in the world has ever done that before, unless they've had, the most amazing side where you've got everyone outgunned, which Newcastle certainly do, not thanks to Eddie's transfer policy. There are no patterns of play. Shout out to a kid called The Noise who made a video the other day, because I've been thinking this as well. The last pattern of play that we remember in this side is when Miggy Almiron, that's how far back we're going, would pass it to Kieran Trippier, who would dink it into the box, as Almiron would run into the box and latch onto the ball, and sometimes we get a goal scoring opportunity out of it. That is it. There are no repeatable patterns of play. There are no types of goals that Newcastle score regularly where you can look and go, oh, we've done that again because that worked last time. Never. It's make it up as you go along. The only goals that look similar are the long-range efforts from fucking Tonali or something like that. And I am certainly not going to miss his dreaded half-time team talks, which religiously make us a worse side every fucking time. I'm not going to miss him being the most stubborn manager I can ever remember, and even when things are provably going wrong, still refusing to do anything different. I'm not going to miss the pathetic lack of creativity and technical ability in this side. Give us footballers with actual brains, for Christ's sakes. There's more to football than outrunning the opponent, and that is where Eddie Howe has completely come unstuck, and that's his whole football philosophy, and that is why when he plays 2 games a week and his players' energy levels aren't as high, his entire model falls to bits, and it will always fall to bits, because his football IQ is not high enough to go to the elite level on a consistent basis. And when I look at the mess he's left this squad in, and I hear people saying, give him another chance, let him do a rebuild. He's the reason we need a rebuild, you muppets. He should have been refreshing the squad the whole time, moving players in, moving players out, and not spending £49 million on a player so that he pisses all the money up on one fucking player, and being economical and being smart and sensible, the way other clubs who will finish above him this season, like Brentford, like Brighton, have done so. He's the reason we need a rebuild, because he's allowed all of these players to age out their contracts because he wanted to spend so much money per player. Allowing him to do a rebuild after we have finished 14th after spending 700 million quid is literally the dumbest thing I've ever heard. When all of the players that he signed no longer believe in him, no longer want to play for him, and you're saying let him do it all over again. How fucking thick can people get? He's got us into a situation where we're going to need God knows how many players this summer, and that is completely on him. That is not defendable. And the reality is, he should have gone after the Sunderland game, and I do not know what the fuck the club are waiting for. What more do you need to see? Because this is just fucking painful. And as much as I'm angry at Eddie, and I'm frustrated and I want rid of him, I don't want it to get nasty for him. You know, all these fans booing, it's sad. It is sad. And then with every game that goes by, we're witnessing a lack of balls and a lack of leadership from the higher ups, where they just need to fucking act. And by sitting on their hands, they're showing we don't know what the fuck we're doing either. Because Eddie's made the decision for you by the shocking results he's put up this season. And people say, no, give him to the end of the season. Fuck that. I want the new manager in as quick as humanly possible so he can... I've heard Eddie Howe's working on next season's transfer targets. Do you know how fucking terrifying that is to hear? What the hell will that look like? I don't want any more fucking runners, man. I want some players who have a bit of IQ on the ball. Get him out as quick as possible. He shouldn't be him and his fucking nephew shouldn't be anywhere fucking near the transfer targets. Get a new manager in, and a manager who actually can play some possession-based football with a bit of fucking technical nous, and someone who can handle 2 games a week. If that's the goal that we're supposed to be going for, to compete in the Champions League, and give him a look at the squad now, and give him time to work with the recruitment so that we get the right players in, and that we don't end up with a last-minute scramble. I want us to make use of the time that we have, because with every second that goes by, it's a second wasted. It's another opportunity for a good manager to go to another club, or a good footballer to go to another club. We have to be more prepared than this, and by them just sitting there and allowing Eddie to walk into the abyss, it's like, fucking hell, lads. Put him out of his fucking misery. Pay him off. We all know that's what he's staying for. I don't care. I don't mind. He deserves a payoff. He has done some good things, but get him out the fucking door now. All right, that's all I've got to say. And I know, like, at times in this video, I've come across angry and people gave me shit, so I'm giving them a bit back. Maybe that makes me sound a bit sour. When you have the wave of crap that I get on social media, sometimes you just need to go, I was fucking right, you pricks. But look, let me know what you think in the comments below. Naturally, I'm a very frustrated fan right now, and there's a lot of us out there. Shout out to the Newcastle fans. It's been fucking miserable. Hopefully, next season's better. Let us know what you thought in the comments below. Hit the like button, subscribe. I'll see you on the next one.